You ever just have a book make you go, Hi, I realize that I haven't really given any recommendation videos on this channel, so this is my first one, and I forgot to mention what exactly this video was. So these are 5-star recommendations I have for you. I have some fantasy books, mostly fantasy, and I also have one horror book and one romance book. Anyway, back to 3D me struggling. How's the live hand tracking now? I love this because I don't have to wear my big old bulky VR headset. It makes it a lot easier to actually talk about the books because my VR headset gives me headaches and stuff. Also, behind me, those are my actual bookshelves, by the way. The first book we're going to talk about is The Raven Scholar, and let me just say before I go on with anything that I had one of the best reading months in May. It was so fun, and why not start with one of my 5 stars for the month, The Raven Scholar. The only thing about The Raven Scholar is that the beginning was so confusing because we start out with a set of characters that are very integral to the plot, but they're not the main characters of the book, and we don't get our main character until a little bit in, not too far in. It's not like crazy far in, but it's within the first few chapters. But I got invested in one character, and then we ended up having to get invested in another character. That was the only thing about the book, but once I got into the story, I loved it. I loved it so much. The story is about a girl named Nima. Nima finds herself having to participate in a competition that this kingdom holds to select a new emperor, and when one of the participants passes away, Nima finds herself in this competition. It's like a series of trials and stuff so they can figure out who's going to be the next emperor. She has a little companion that's a raven, and the raven is so funny. There are descriptions of the raven where like it pops out its chest. I could see it so clearly in my mind. It was so fun. The raven was so snarky, and I really like how it had like a really super satisfying ending, but also it left it open for the next book in the series. So I'm really excited to read it, and despite like getting a little confused in the beginning, this was a really fun read. It wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be, but that's okay because I thought the humor that I did find in it with the raven, it fit perfectly for where it was at in the story, and I just had so much fun with this, guys. It was just fun. Also, don't listen to the audiobook because it's so confusing. I think that's where some of my confusion came from, because I started listening to the audiobook and then I started getting the characters mixed up. So if you go in, just read the book, don't listen to the audiobook, and you'll be good to go. I was gonna move on to the next book. Oh my god. The next book we're gonna talk about is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I love this book. I rated it 5 stars. This felt like a D&D campaign in the best way possible. The characters were so fun. The way Joe Abercrombie writes his characters, the little things he would write and make them do, it was so refreshing to read, and I was really, really immersed in the world. I laughed with the characters. I kind of like got grossed out with the characters. I got spooked with the characters. I was 100% in the adventure with these characters. I guess this is categorized as grimdark fantasy, and I've never read grimdark fantasy before. So, and I know Joe Abercrombie, that's kind of like his specialty. So, I'm convinced that I want to read more of it. So this takes place in a Europe that is similar but very different to the Europe that we know. In this book, there is a 10-year-old pope. And she sends this group of adventurers. The group is made up of a geriatric vampire, an invisible elf, a knight that's cursed with immortality, an overconfident necromancer who casts spells with poop. What is with epic fantasy books and poop? Like, or just fantasy in general? Like, I've read so many of these books and they have mentions of poo. And why? Anyway, so we follow this monk who is employed by the 10-year-old pope to go with a group of monsters to install a thief onto the serpent throne. It's funny, it's dark, it's gritty, it's a D&D adventure in a book, pretty much. Like, if you've played D&D, you know how crazy things can get sometimes, and that's definitely what this book feels like. Also, the art in this book, 10 out of 10. It's so good. Okay, I'm so excited for this next book. This book was one of my most anticipated reads of the year. and that is The Night and the Moth. Rachel Gillig writes such great gothic fantasy. She's so good at just giving a vibe and an atmosphere and a world and a really neat, unique magic system. It's being called a romantasy, but I see it more as a fantasy with a romantic subplot. I wasn't really like rooting for the romance. It was cute, but I was just there for Sybil doing all of her diviner things. This was so cool. In this book, we follow a diviner named Sybil, and she is one of 6 who use visions from the gods to get these omens. It's kind of like telling the fortune of someone who comes to visit them and ask for it. So one day, a young king comes and visits visions from a diviner, and all of his omens come out negative. Then after he receives this, the other diviners that are with Sybil start to go missing. So Sybil finds herself going with the young king and his group of knights to find the gods, to ask why are they all going missing, pretty much. And Sybil also has a gargoyle sidekick. He's so cute. His name is Bartholomew, and he's so unserious. It was such just a cool addition to her and her adventure as she tries to figure out what's going on with all of the other diviners. The romance, it wasn't my favorite part of the book, but it was cute. I liked it. I liked the knight. He was very dashing. I think what made me rate this so highly is that I just love the way Rachel Gillig writes. Her writing is just so perfect for gothic fantasy. She mentions like these little things and they all add up to just give the perfect atmosphere to go with her stories, and I can feel myself right there with the characters, and it's really cool. Also, I don't know if anyone else envisioned this when I don't think this is a unique take. You know that show Gargoyles? I think it was from like the early 2000s. It would show late at night on the Disney Channel, like Disney XD or something. That's how I pictured Bartholomew, even though that's definitely not how he was supposed to look. I'm not gonna lie, I literally just wanted to read this because I love the trailer for the new Witcher game. I'm so excited for it. I knew those games were based off the books, and I love the show on Netflix. I had been meaning to pick this up for a while, so I was so excited to finally get to it. And oh my gosh, I read this in one setting. I read a lot of these books in one setting. This was so good, and it was short, so it went by really fast. And I loved the way the author wrote. There was so much dialogue in this book, but the way especially in the beginning when Ciri was getting trained by the other Witchers, a lot of it was done through dialogue, and it really showed how she was changing. Like the way he was telling her to train and yelling at her to how to move and when. It was just really interesting, and I thought it was an interesting way to write. The author used dialogue to show passage of time. While there were like these big chunky paragraphs with like info dumping, it just felt really conversational. It never felt out of place to me. So I just had fun with it. I didn't expect as much dialogue, but it worked. And I believe this was actually like a Polish book translated into English, so I thought that was really interesting as well. Basically, this book centers around Ciri and keeping her safe from everyone else. We have Geralt, and he's guarding her. We're just going through her journey. She's the prophesized child. She is basically the harbinger of the end of the world. And there are elves, there are dwarves. It's a high fantasy, and it was so good. In this world, though, elves die. Get it? Because blood of elves, which I play World of Warcraft, and my favorite race to play in World of Warcraft is a blood elf. So when they started talking about blood elves in the book, I was like, wait, like the ones from WoW? I know that's not what they were, but I just kept envisioning the elves from World of Warcraft. So that's just a me thing, but it didn't take anything away from the book. It was fun. I had so much fun with this, and I'm 100% continuing with the series. I rated this a 5-star.
Big stretch. Like possessed.
Hey, we should talk about The Exorcist. Talking of possession. Hold on. You ever just have a book make you go? Yeah, the next book I read was The Exorcist, and this book was absolutely one of the most scary books I've ever read. It's about this this girl named Reagan, and she gets possessed by a demon, like this horrible, disgusting, nasty, terrible demon. And it's just following that story and about it being exorcised and stuff like that, and how her parents are dealing with it. And when I tell you, after I read this and I went to bed that night that I got finished with it, I swear that I saw shadows moving and I was going to be possessed. It gave me nightmares and it made me paranoid. It was very well done. There were some parts in this that were super uncomfortable. It did what I want my horror books to do. I want them to make me think. I want them to creep me the heck out and make me paranoid and make me think about them days or weeks after I read them. And this is definitely one of those books that I think about a lot. So, like for me, it's on par with it in terms of how disturbing it was, if that makes sense. Problematic Summer Romance by another one of my favorite romance authors, Ali Hazelwood. This is an age gap romance, and basically they have a past, but they kind of rekindle that when they end some of like their past troubles when they go to the male main character's friend's wedding. The female main character, her brother is having a wedding, so they kind of rekindle and rehash a lot of their past. It follows the days leading up to the wedding and how they get together and stuff like that. And I just thought this was really cute. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't have any problem with the age gap because she was in her 20s and he was in his 30s. They're both adults. It was fine. I had no problem with it. It was a fluffy read. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I thought the romance in this was paced really well. It wasn't rushed or anything like that. It was told like through current events, like counting down to the wedding, and then you would have chapters also. It was like almost every other chapter where it was told through flashbacks, giving you a history of their relationships. I would 100% recommend this if you're like going to the beach and you want a nice romance book to read on the beach or by the pool or something. This would be something that I think would be really fun or perfect for that if you're going on vacation, because they're essentially on vacation in this book. So Ali Hazelwood 9 times out of 10 does not miss with me. And I can't believe this was not talked about more. My reading month for May was crazy good. I like all of these books. I'm not gonna lie, I loved every single one of them. They were all like, it was fun, and I felt like I was really going out of my comfort zone with the things that I was picking up this month. And I'm really happy that I just kind of went with it. So I didn't really have a set TBR this month, so I was just mood reading the whole month. So it definitely led me to picking up some really interesting books. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel if you like VTuber and gaming content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Oh, that's so cool. I can do this now. Bye-bye! Ah, that's so cool. Look at that.